Hi, Beans. Thanks for joining me on DonnaJean's Coffee House of Horror. And I am delighted because I have been intending to do this interview that I'm doing now, or do this chat, because I realize that's more what we do, with Hayden Newman for quite some time. And she and I had it scheduled, and then we had to reschedule. And so I am so delighted. I am so honored. With no further ado, I introduce Hayden Newman.
Hi, how are you?
Fantastic. Now,
And
Hayden,
I got my coffee too.
you can never go too far without it.
No.
Now, Hayden, you are just a multi-talented lady. Reunion from Hell, you're the writer, you're the director, the producer, you're an actor. Now, I know that this is your first film, but you have your beginnings in theater. Is that the case?
Yes, I am very much a theater brat. I've started theater 20 years ago. At 15, I started in theater and started out with roles, small, then got bigger roles, and then eventually that led into my love for directing. And so yeah, that's how. And then
Well,
there's
that's
not much difference.
15.
There's not much of a difference from theater to film, other than in film you get multiple takes, and on theater you don't.
Oh my goodness, isn't that the case? So really, if you fumble, you just kind of need to go with it.
Yes, you are trained from day one to no matter what happens, keep going, don't stop. So yeah.
So you kind of have to learn how to make the stumbling block stepping stones right from the get-go.
Exactly, and make it believable that it was supposed to be there. So
Now at 15, that's really, wow, that's a young age to be inspired. Was there anything in particular that you just fell in love with that made you think you wanted to get involved with acting, with the theater?
well, my mom tells the story. She says she knew from a very young age, me being a very young age, that I would do something in that realm of the world, because I could watch a movie or hear a song a couple of times and then I could literally quote it. And it only took me a couple of times. But I always loved film. I always loved movies. I always loved horror films. And growing up where I grew up in Alabama, there wasn't much to do. I wasn't wasn't a sports person. I played soccer, but that was about it. And I thought, well, I didn't like art as it like I like painting. I didn't like that. I was like, well, maybe I'll like theater. And I went and gave it a shot, and that was what I was good at. So yeah.
And were you always attracted to the horror genre, or did that come later?
Well, it's kind of funny. When I was little, and I ended up playing a role in this play, but when I was little, I loved The Wizard of Oz. That was like my favorite movie ever.
I love The Wizard of Oz myself.
And I was one of those children that or Beetlejuice. I loved Beetlejuice too. Had to be on, and it had to be on constantly. Well, my babysitter at the time, who was more like a big brother to me, him and a friend of his went out and rented Halloween 4. This was when Halloween 4 first come out. Went out and rented it, and they tricked me into watching it at 3 years old. They were like, I
What
think
an
they may have
amazing
told
movie that
me,
is.
yeah, I think they may have told me it was The Wizard of Oz or something, and it started, and I figured out real quickly it wasn't, but I was drawn in, and loved them ever since.
Well, after an experience like that, how could you not?
Exactly. And I tell people Halloween 4, and it's probably because it was the first one I ever saw, is my favorite one of all of the original films. And I think it's more so because it was the first one I ever saw. So
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. If that helped to kind of instill the love of the genre and something you took near and dear to your heart, makes perfect sense.
yes.
Well, speaking of horror, could you give us a quick synopsis on Reunion from Hell? What's that about? I'm so excited, just the bits that I've been seeing about that.
Well, Reunion from Hell is it's a huge love letter, and anybody that has seen the film or screened it already has noticed that it's a huge love letter, that it's definitely made by horror fans for horror fans. But it's an homage to the films that inspired me, more so Scream, Halloween. But the story of Reunion from Hell is there's a group of friends, and the lead character, Riley Connor, which is who I play, has not been back to the hometown where we all grew up in about 10 years, because something happened that made Riley leave town. And unfortunately, a friend is killed, which therefore brings Riley back to town. And none of us think anything of it or that we're in any danger until a second friend is killed. And then as the movie goes on, we figure out that it was a setup to get me back to town, and that somebody is out there hunting us down one by one. It's a whodunit, who suspense thriller. I don't want to say that it's a complete straight up horror film, because it has the backstory where you get to know these characters, and that's one thing that people have said. They love that you get to know these characters and really can feel that there's a backstory with these characters. They have a past.
Yeah, a lot of horror, particularly slasher films, it seems as though there's not much by way of character development. So when there is, it really stands out.
Yeah, and that was very important to me. I always said from the get-go, I was like, we are not making a Friday the 13th movie. I love Friday the 13th, but we're not making Friday the 13th. I want these characters to be people that you care about, that you don't want to see go. So when they do go, it's that much more impactful. So
You had so many roles in this. You, of course, were the writer, and you're a
yes.
director, actor. Did you find that you ever had any conflict playing all of those different roles?
I didn't. One, because I had a wonderful co-director, Sam Hodge, who was also my DP. We worked so well together. We could literally look at each other and know what the other one was thinking. We would get together in the mornings, and Sam, God love him, he would try to get to me before I got my coffee. And I was like, you gotta let me get my coffee first, then we can talk. And then we would talk about the scenes we were shooting that day. But no, I had a wonderful, and I think it also came from the fact that I'd done it for so long in theater. So I had a wonderful team. Yeah, had I not had a wonderful team, it may have been a lot harder. but no, it wasn't easy by no means, but it wasn't a nightmare either.
I was wondering because I've spoken to a number of people who were both the screenwriters and the producers and the actors, and it seems that each of those jobs is so all encompassing.
They are, and it was funny. And Kathy Podwell, who was in the film, she plays my mom in the film. She would watch me, and I guess, you know, she was on Dallas for 4 seasons. So Larry Hagman and Patrick Duffy directed a lot of the episodes of Dallas, but she said it was like deja vu, because I would watch you go out of character to go look at the footage and be the director and then get back into character. She was like, it was like deja vu all over again.
So afterwards is when you kind of definitely need to, well, I don't drink, but you probably would go need to get a drink and maybe a hot bath and shake it all out.
There was some scenes in the film that were very intense that took a lot out of. There's one in particular, and it's one of my favorite scenes in the film between me and Kathy, and it took a lot out of me and her both. It's a very emotional scene. And by the time we got it, me and Kathy were like, and thank God we waited, and that was the last scene we shot of that day. Because we, after we got it, me and Kathy were like, we both got to step away for like 15 minutes and just, you know, collect ourselves.
In filming some really intense scenes like that, do you have any suggestions that you would give to somebody about how to wind down, how to come down from that place?
You know, my best suggestion would be do what's best for you. If it's going to listen to some music, a couple of songs that make you feel better, or me in particular, it's a bad habit, but I smoke cigarettes. So I would go smoke a cigarette. That's one thing about being a theater brat too, that we've discovered, that a lot of us in theater became smokers. But that would be my best suggestion. Do what is best for you, and what you find works best for you. Like I would have a glass of wine if it was the end of the day. But you know, there are some very intense scenes, and it's so funny because a lot of people don't know this. When you film a movie, you shoot out a sequence. What I mean is, you know, the very first scene we shot of the movie is in the middle of the film. So you have moments where your character arc is like this, like at this point, and then it's at this point. So it's juggling, you know, well, which version of this character am I today?
Just pretty much, I guess that's where you as a director have to direct you as the actor. This is where you are.
Yeah. Because we only, you know, working around actor schedules and everything else, it's a process to make it all come together. A lot of people think, oh, it's fun, you just go stand in front of a camera. No.
Those are clearly people who have never talked to people who have done it.
Exactly.
Which is good, because it means that you're making it look natural. So that's a success, right? Now, Reunion from Hell was selected for its Kentucky premiere at the Scarefest Horror and Paranormal Film Festival. And then you attended the Tidewater Horror Con. Do you have any more plans about attending any more events?
Yes. Of course, we'll be at Scarefest, which was such an honor to be selected to show there. Also, we shot the film in Kentucky, so it really is the Kentucky premiere. In January, I will be Cocoa Beach, Florida. I'll be at that one.
I'm going to look it up. I'm writing it down.
Yes, I think. And then actually, it's kind of funny because Mark Patton from Nightmare on Elm Street 2, he's at that convention too. And we
we're going to ask you about Mark later, but
yes, literally
wonderful.
We literally leave that convention to go start filming part 2.
It was actually going to be one of my questions about how blown away I am that you have Mark involved with Reunion from Hell 2. What an amazing thing. So really, after spending the weekend at the con together,
we leave to go film, literally.
What a beautiful thing that is.
Yeah.
I adore Mark. So.
I have not got to meet Mark in person yet. I adore him, his story, so impactful. He is very much someone I look up to. And all of our communication has been fabulous. And the role he plays in this film is going to be something different that you've never seen him do before. Nice. And I'm excited about it. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to the role. It's actually been my hope since I've been doing this to interview Mark. And the one show that I almost made it to, I got ill, so I couldn't make it to, that he was there. So I have yet to have met him in person. But just as a human being, I feel as you do. I am brokenhearted and then inspired. Yes. By all that he's been through, all that he's done, and who he is. And to have him be a part of this is just how amazing that is. How awesome. It was an honor when he said yes. And he's so excited about it. He's like, this is such a different role, because I guess people expect him to play the Jesse type role even today. So he's like, this is such a different role. I get to do something different. And he's very excited about it. Oh, I bet. And how wonderful that would be to be stepping into a new pair of shoes. And that he'll also be with Lisa Wilcox is also with your crew there. Yes. So they'll be working together. Lisa is just amazing, wonderful. And she, like you said, she's stepping in to and Lisa actually was the one who brought Mark to my attention, because we were on the phone, like literally on a 3-hour phone conversation. Me and Lisa will get on the phone and it'll be like talk business for a few minutes and then we just start. And we got on the conversation about Mark and his documentary, and she was like, have you ever thought of working with him? And I was like, yeah, that would be like an honor. And she's like, you should email him and she's like, you have permission to tell him I'm involved. Emailing. So I emailed him, and within a week, it was like boom, 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 boom. Oh, how beautiful. Yeah. Is there going to be a fundraiser for Reunion from Hell 2? Yes. It will start October 29th, the weekend of Halloween. Okay, so it's coming up. Yes. Okay, I'm writing that down too. And we're gonna have a lot of amazing perks. 2 has just taken kind of on a life of its own, but it's been an honor too, with some actors who just heard of the experience of one, or actually come to us and say, we want to work with you. And I had that happen with John Dugan, who was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I'm like, huh? Okay.
What a beautiful thing.
Exactly. And I had that happen with another actor. I can't say who yet because everything's not finalized.
I understand.
But it is a known actor that people are going to be like, wow. Like, 2 has become like the all-stars. Like, really is the reunion. Like, you got Lisa and you got Mark and you got John, and it's just like all of these horror icons are going to be into. And
so really, when this interview goes live, the Indiegogo will have, the fundraiser will have started.
mm-hmm.
And so all of you guys out there watching, check it out, become a part of it, help to make it happen.
We are going to have some amazing perks. It's going to be 2 as we're all excited to get back together for 2. And we're like, Lisa and Mark and John, we're like, okay, y'all are the new people and the new actors that are other new actors that are stepping in, because there wasn't many people left at the end of 1. So, we all
we don't want to give anything away. Hopefully Riley is at least left.
We all became a family on 1. We all one of the locations that we shot in was beautiful 4-story Victorian home in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was big enough for the entire cast and crew to stay at. So we all lived there. We all lived together during the entirety of the shoot.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it really shows on film even more. Like, it made our connections, because we really got to know who everybody was and who they are on their everyday life. And, with Kathy Podwell, her and the actor who plays my brother in the film, the actor's name is Jeremiah Lee Steinert. They both come in a day before everybody else arrived, just for us to start forming that family bond, like, because we had to be believable family on film. And me and Kathy went and grocery shopping together, and I was like, this is unreal. I'm grocery shopping with Kathy Podwell. Okay. But that's one thing that reviewers have said. Everybody said that the chemistry is undeniable in that first film, that you believe that we are really a family, or you believe that Riley was really friends with these people. So yeah.
Well, you're also coming hopefully the other end out of COVID, where nobody was really allowed to be around each other. Yes. And then to be able to be then like embraced by this group of people that you're filming with day in and day out. What a beautiful experience that had to be.
It was, and I will, never forget it for as long as I live. I will forever be grateful for the friendships I made on that film. And we shot in October of 2020. So actually this time, a year ago, we were shooting. Yeah. And it was right at the end. So everybody had been, like you said, cooped up for so long. And then we all came together and we all believed in the film. And there wasn't, I like to tell people, I'm like, we didn't have a caterer. We ordered out or cooked meals together, or, I know the Grubhub people in Louisville, Kentucky was probably tired of seeing all of us.
Either that or they loved it. They
Yeah.
fell in love with you.
But, there wasn't any kind of diva attitudes on set. It was, we're making a movie. We all believe in this. And we would step in and help where we could. The actors would. And, it was, we guerrilla film made it. That's the best way to put it. If you ever hear the backstory of how they shot Halloween, it was very much the same.
Yeah.
There wasn't any kind of diva-ish attitudes on set. Kathy really became like the mother, on set mother. And it was a beautiful experience. Beautiful.
I'm so excited to see it. I'm so glad I jumped in and ordered a copy because I'm just so anxious to see it.
I don't know if you saw my post earlier. I've been a little under the weather, but they have arrived, so they're getting ready to start shipping out. So yeah, you'll be getting your text or your email with your tracking number here in the next couple of days.
I'm so excited. I'm so looking forward to that. So do you think that there's a possibility that Mark and Lisa might have any scenes together into?
I have been asked that question by many people. The time, Lisa was already announced, and then we announced Mark. So I was getting messages a lot. Will they have a scene together? They have quite a few scenes together, actually. So yes.
It's exciting. Yay.
And they're both really excited about it because this is the first time that they've done a project together, other than like the Nightmare on Elm Street documentary or, something like that. They haven't actually got to do a film together. So
I imagine that for you, with this being your first film and some of how it has been celebrated by the people involved with it, it's got to be just a dream come true. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be.
it is a dream come true. When we did the first film, I just wanted to tell a story. That was, Kathy Podwell is the big draw in one. She's, and I never imagined she would say yes. I emailed her, and it was June of 2020. I emailed her and I was like, I've got a script. It's an indie horror film. I told her what the part was and said, would you be interested? She said, well, yeah, send me the script. And within 2 days, she come back and said, yeah, I want to do it. What I didn't, that blew me away. I was like, what? What? Okay.
You're very humble, Hayden.
Yeah, what I didn't know at the time was, I don't know how many of your listeners or viewers know, Kathy kind of stepped out of the limelight for a while. She stepped out to raise her children. She tells the story, she always said once they're grown and graduated, she could act until, she was in the ground. But you only have that little bit of time with your children. And I 100% respect her for that. And I did not know it at the time that I reached out to her. I found out later that her youngest child graduated high school 2 weeks before I sent that email. So it was kind of like it was just supposed to happen, this perfect storm. And she said, this is the first horror film she's done since Night of the Demons. And she said, she felt in her it was kind of right that she started with an indie horror film 33 years ago. And she was like, I just feel it's right that I come back this way. So it was an honor. It was unbelievable. I was like, you really want to do this little indie horror film? But and then when we moved to and Lisa said yes and Mark said yes, and I was just like, this is unreal. But one thing they all have agreed on and loved about is the story. And they feel it's a story that needs to be told, which I don't want to give too much away, but that's what drew all of them in was, the story. It's not a straight up slasher film. It's there's this stuff going on and we are thrown into these horrific situations.
I'm going to take this a little bit of a different direction.
Okay.
That on another note, being a writer, being one who likes to tell tales or express themselves, you're the author of Out of Darkness, a true
Yes.
story of survival and acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
What inspired you to write this?
Yeah, you're good. You're the first interviewer to bring that up.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I grew up in small town Alabama, where being a member of the LGBTQ community was awful. It was bullying every day. It was very hard. And I actually had teachers, you're supposed to go to your teachers for help. And I had teachers, and I remember it, and this was in, the late 90s, early 2000s, say, well, if this is more your fault that they're doing this. So yeah, and then I'm a survivor of, like I said, you're good. I'm a survivor of rape.
I am too.
And I went down a very dark path for a long time. And one day I woke up and I realized I was still letting everybody who bullied me, the person who raped me, I was still letting them win. And that was not, I was still a victim. That was unacceptable to me. And then it started out kind of as a journal. It really did. And I also,
that makes complete sense to me.
And I, started following the suicide rate in the LGBTQ youth. And it's astronomically high. It is so high. So my thought process is if I tell my story, which was very personal, a lot of things people did not know until they read the book. I had never spoke of it other than in therapy sessions. I said, if I tell my story and if it just reaches one person and lets them know you're not alone and I've made it this far, you can make it this. Okay, now I'm going to tear up. You can make it this far.
I'm tearing up myself.
Just don't give up there. And that's kind of why the title is Out of Darkness is there's a light at the end of that tunnel. Just keep fighting. Just you will get there. So that's how that happened.
At some point, you have to make the choice
Mm-hmm.
to go from being the victim to being the survivor. You turn those stumbling blocks into stepping stones. And
Yes.
you made the choice to help other people by confronting your own demons. And you become the final girl.
Yeah, yeah, kinda, yeah. I like that. But
I wish I could give you a big hug, Hayden.
that's I'm sure you know who Adrian King is.
Oh yes, I
Alice
adore
Friday the
Adrian.
13th. Me and Adrian have had a friendship for many years. It started via Facebook. I told her my story, and Alice was very much a character that helped me. I found my strength in that character, some strength in that character. So I told her about it, and we became extremely close. And she's followed me through the years. And then she found out the movie got made, and she just gave me like the biggest hug the last time she saw me and said, "I'm so proud of you." And to have Adrian King, it was amazing.
Well, I think at some point we do find each other and we encourage each other, but also just the strength that you have, that you were able to bring through this was amazing.
It was not easy. I will tell you that it was not easy because a lot of it, like I said, I had not told anybody other than in therapy sessions, and going back and reliving certain moments, and you forget certain details till you put yourself back into that time. So it took me actually a couple of years to finish it. I wrote some, and then I had to stop, and I had to walk away and then come back.
What was your decision to go public with it and not just to keep it as a journal?
It was really the suicide rate in the community and the youth in the community, seeing that, and actually, and this broke my heart. A person that works with my mother found out about me, and they went and gave my mom this huge hug and said, "Thank you for accepting your child." My mom was like, "Well, of course I accept my child." Well, come to find out, this particular individual's parents had put them through conversion therapy 3 times, electroshock therapy. Um,
Oh.
so when my mom told me that, I was like, you know what? I grabbed a book out of the stacks and I autographed it. I was like, please give this to that person. And
I've actually tried to find a copy of it and I haven't been able to.
well, it was self-published. So if you want a copy, you gotta come to me.
Well, I'm going to do that. So expect to get a message from me because I would like to get a copy or two, because I know at least one person that I'd like to give one to.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, when I hear people talk about the book, and like I said, you're the first person. You're a good one. I was not expecting that. So.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it to throw you for a loop.
Oh, no, that's totally fine. I'm more than happy to talk about it.
I am very much of the opinion that we are who we are, not because of what's happened to us, but because of how we respond to it. And
yeah.
I did read on your page that you have PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, not knowing, but figured it was likely because of some of that. And I also have it because of a rape. And
Yes.
and I also believe that we can connect our strengths on this and show other people that they also have strength.
Exactly. And that's, at the end of the day, even with the film, and this is what I've told people, and it's at the end of the day, it's not about money. Yeah, money's nice, but it's about knowing that even if you just reached one person and saved them from doing something they cannot take back, or letting them know, I'm not alone. That's worth it for me. 100%.
I almost feel like I am right now so moved. I just want to hug you, and I don't know what else to say. So maybe I just say thank you. I love you, and you
Oh,
are amazing.
well, thank you. And I have fallen in love with you during our chat and this interview. So thank you so much.
So going from here, is there anything, I know you have the other film
Hmm.
that's going to be starting up, but if you could do anything now, anything, if you were given all means, all money, all the time, what would you want to do?
Well, that's a funny question. Um, because Mark and Lisa both, and several other people are like, well, are we going to do, we ain't even done reunion 2, but they're like, are we going to do a reunion 3? And I'm like, well, because they see this, and they've been in the
Franchise,
business, they see a
franchise.
franchise, and they've been in this business for so long, and it's an honor for them. I never thought we would do a 2. Like, I just never thought that my goal was to get 1 done. But when I'm asked that question, I say, there's a possibility, but it would be on down the road, because I have been in these characters' heads for 2 years now. I want out. Um, so, I would love to tell more of a dramatic film, or, I don't want to be known just for horror,
Right,
obviously.
right.
So, if I was able to do anything, and people have asked me that have read the book, they're like, well, would you ever turn that into a film? And I said, it's a possibility, but I wouldn't want to watch the film.
Yeah,
Um,
that
you
makes
know,
perfect sense to me, actually.
I would like maybe watch it once, and that would be it. Um, but no, I would love to do more dramatic, um, a suspense thriller. I don't want to be just known for slasher horror. No. So
Then,
I've got a couple of other scripts I'm working on. Right now, my main focus of obviously is 2 and getting the final draft done of 2. But I have other ideals like floating around in my head for what could be next to come. Yeah.
well, I am excited to see where you go with those and to follow you along with this. And I'll be honored if you give me the opportunity to do this again once you're into filming later, because at this point, I don't think you could get rid of me.
I would absolutely love to. It's an honor that you asked me on, and I've enjoyed this, and I would love to come back and talk to you again. And yeah,
Thank you so much. And you guys out there, reunion from hell.
yes. And the upcoming 2, which I don't know how many people know, is also a Christmas theme. So yeah.
See you in the movies.